Welcome everyone, my name is Irina Dallo. I'm a PhD student at the Swiss Seismological Service and Transdisciplinarity Lab at ETH Zurich. I present on behalf of my research group at these two institutions. In the next 15 minutes, I will present you tools and methods to explore how to best communicate event-related earthquake information in a multi-hazard context. Our research approach is transdisciplinary. This means that we do not only involve experts from different fields, but we also collaborate with stakeholders from the society. But why does transdisciplinary research is needed? Our answer is because a solution can be technically excellent, but if it does not fulfill the needs of the end user, it may not be practicable. Therefore, transdisciplinary research approaches are needed. What is transdisciplinarity research? Transdisciplinarity means that you combine the two spheres, science and society. So throughout the design process, you include experts and scientists from different fields to get their perspective and expertise, but you also test and collaborate with stakeholders from the society. These stakeholders can be emergency services, industry, the public, federal authorities, etc. Within transdisciplinary research, you can use different methods and tools. The main tools and methods we are comes from the design thinking toolbox that was developed by the Hasso-Plattner Institute of Design at Stanford University. This approach or process consists of 5 steps. First, you try to understand your audiences, to talk to them, and to get their needs. Then you define the problem statement and the focus of your research. And then you start ideating solutions for your problem. There it's important that you don't have the one solution, but that you have different solutions that also have different possibilities and opportunities, and then you can start prototyping some of them before you test them with the end users. The end user has then the possibility to give you feedback, and you can check whether the prototypes fulfill the needs of the end users. If this is the case, you can go a step further and then implement, for example, the communication product or service. If the needs or expectations are not fulfilled, then you can go back and again talk to the end users, explore their challenges and criticisms, and then adjust your prototypes, test them again, and so you have an iterative process until the final products and communication services fulfill the needs of the end users or your stakeholders. In the next step, I would like to show you how you can apply different methods for specific cases. I will present you one of our case studies in Switzerland, and the aim of this case study is to explore how to best communicate earthquake information in a multi-hazard context. To give you first a bit of a background, earthquake or damaging earthquakes in Switzerland are only expected every 100 and 150 years, and the last large earthquake happened in Sion in 1946. This is one of the reasons why the public's preparedness levels are generally low, and also their awareness and knowledge about earthquakes are low. One approach, not only in Switzerland but also internationally, is to communicate information about low probability hazards such as earthquakes on multi-hazard platforms. In Switzerland, for example, earthquake information is already available on the Meteo Suisse app, so the national weather app, which allows to reach a large part of the society. However, in the recent years, the focus of research was mainly on the technical issues, and we now focused or explored also the social aspects and whether people understand the information that is available and how to best design or compile hazard overviews and hazard announcements. To this end, we continuously exchanged with scientists from different fields and stakeholders from the society. We are part of working groups where we, together with other natural institutions, explore how to best combine the information about the different hazards on one platform. Our target audience from the society is the public, therefore in the next 5 minutes I will present you 3 studies we conducted with the general public. The first study is an online survey with a coin choice experiment, which was mainly used so far for market research. However, in the last years, also political scientists use this method. We used it to test different design options. The second study are virtual workshops where we used user-driven prototyping methods, so participants were able to prototype their own communication products. In a third study, we conducted an online survey with a between subject experiment where we wanted to explore which elements on the message triggers people to actually take actions. I will start with the first study, so the coin choice experiment survey. This method allows to put participants in a hypothetical choice situation. So as you can see on the left side, the participants saw always one map side by side, and then they had to decide which one they prefer. So here I added 2 versions we tested. So on the left side you can see that all hazards are displayed on one map, and on the second map the hazards are displayed on separate maps. And then we also varied the hazard categorizations, whether only with 4 levels or with 5 levels. This allowed us to observe stated preferences and also to examine the relevance of certain product characteristics. So for each attitude or characteristics we had different levels, and then we were able to explore which of these levels were preferred. Then the second study, for this study we conducted user prototyping workshops, and this allowed us to understand users' thinkings behind their perceptions and needs, and also to reveal features that developers may not have thought of, because often end users can test a certain prototype, but then they are already biased by the elements of which this prototype exists, and therefore we wanted to explore their ideas and to assess whether they have new ideas we haven't thought about yet. Workshops or also focus group discussions further allow participants to build on each other's thoughts. In comparison, interviews often only represents their ideas, but when they talk to each other they can also deepen a certain idea and benefit from each other's knowledge and expertise. Then the third studies. For this study we used the between subject experiments, so the participants were randomly assigned to one of the versions we designed, and then they had to indicate whether they would now take actions, and we also had some interpretation questions to check whether the information on the warning was understood or not. We further showed the message only for 3 or 5 seconds, which allowed us to redesign or to put them in a more realistic situation, because in reality when they receive earthquake early warning they only have a few seconds to take actions or to react. This allowed us to test which design was best understood and preferred, and also to assess which designs triggered to take actions. Now in the next step I would like to summarize our main insights from these 3 studies. So first, regarding the map designs, people prefer that multiple hazards are combined on one app, not only natural hazards but also anthropogenic and technical hazards. Then they prefer that the information about the different hazards is combined on one single map, and not on separate maps, and the map should be combined with textual explanations which allow them to better understand the information that is provided. Regarding the hazard messages, people prefer to have pictured and textual behavior recommendations, and especially pictograms triggers them to take actions. Then they want a sharing function because one of their needs is to inform and warn their relatives and friends, and therefore an integrated sharing function is needed. And then only the most relevant information should be available on the message, and all further information can be or should be accessible via a link on where the users are redirected to the official websites with the more in-depth information. And regarding multi-hazard apps in general, only short and real-time information should be on the app, so no preparedness information or long-term information, long-term hazard. All this information can be accessible on the official websites, but the information about the current hazard should be there with the actions to take at the moment. Then also interactive features such as an I am safe button, similar to the safety check on Facebook, which was used during the earthquake in Nepal and the terror attacks in Paris, are preferred, or also the possibility to report an event so that they can contribute to the mitigation of the hazard. Further challenges are still to have actionable information and that users understand whether the information is before, during, or after the event. And these challenges we are currently dealing with our study. So if you are interested in these two issues, we are happy to have a discussion with you. Now, regarding the limitations of our studies and approach, we currently have only tested the designs hypothetically, and real-world testing is still needed. However, it allowed us to explore the different needs and get a first impression of their preferences. And several studies have also shown that the methods we use actually picture the needs and preferences of the public also in real world situations. Our target audience was the general public, so we didn't consider minority groups. However, also these groups have to be explored in more depth, and also their skills and capabilities have to be considered. Also, the information overload is, especially for multi-hazard platforms, a big issue because in situations where many hazard notifications are active, it's also a challenge for users to get the relevant information for them. And to close my presentation, I will give you 3 take-home messages. So first, interact with your target audiences, not only at the end of the design process, but already throughout the design process. You can also together formulate a problem statement so that you're on the same level. Then test your designs before implementing them, and also iteratively test them because the needs and also the institutional settings can change throughout the time. And use different tools because this allows you to gather different perspectives and to also give the possibilities to different stakeholders to voice their concerns and needs. And with that, I would like to thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me, and we are looking forward to a lively discussion during the workshop in some weeks.